What's going on? It's Annaliese here, and I've got a video that lots of you have been asking for. I'm celebrating the occasion with ruffles because I am breaking down the difference between Britain's Next Top Model and America's Next Top Model. Trust me, I had to get my thinking cap on for this one. As always, I appreciate your support. Please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and give me a follow on Instagram. Now, before I get into the actual differences, let me just talk about my feelings towards both shows. So obviously with doing all of these recaps and a lot of you asking about Britain's Next Top Model, I thought, you know what, I should probably rewatch it. I haven't watched it since the first time it aired and I watched it literally like that. But you know what, I actually found it really hard to watch. I mean, obviously I was watching it on YouTube, so the quality was kind of rubbish. But beyond that, I was actually kind of embarrassed by it. I was embarrassed of my behaviour in some aspects. I was embarrassed because of my OTT-ness. Now trust me, I'm over the top and always have been, but it was just obnoxious and in your face back then. Don't get me wrong, I'm still obnoxious and in your face now, but I feel like it's more refined. I don't know if you can refine over the topness, but I think I've done a pretty good job at it. I really didn't like the arrogant title that I was given. I think I watched till about halfway through episode 5 when Sophie called me a fame hunter and I was done. Honestly, it just didn't make me feel good to watch it, and I think we're in really fragile times right now, and anything that is not serving my positivity, I basically haven't got time for. So yeah, I'm not quite sure if you're gonna get the BNTM recaps you were after, but the least I can do is deliver this video. And then America's Next Top Model on the other hand, yes, of course it was cheesy and cringy, but you know what? I'm not fully embarrassed about it at all. I'm actually quite proud of what I did on the show, and I'm just really glad that I got the chance to redeem myself. So let's get into these differences, starting with the obvious one, which is the judges. So on Britain's Next Top Model, the head judge is Lisa Snowdon, who's a former model, TV presenter, etc. And then we've got Louis Mariette, who is a milliner or a hat maker to the stars. And then Huggy Ragnarsson, who is a former model and photographer as well. Then for ANTM, we all know who Tyra Banks is. Yeah, she doesn't even need an introduction. Then we've got Nigel Barker, fashion photographer, and then Kelly Catrone, PR maven. So I think there are some clear differences there, but let's talk about the caliber of guest judges. So on Britain's Next Top Model, we had like Nikki Johnston, who's a photographer, Matthew Brindle, Kylie Minogue made a kind of peep appearance, and it was just a lot of kind of top photographers that I wouldn't say are necessarily super famous. On the other side of things, ANTM, straight out the bat, Kelly Osbourne, Beverly Johnson, the Kardashians, come on! Yeah, they went in. When it comes to the casting process, both experiences were kind of similar, apart from the fact that with Britain's Next Top Model, I filled out an application and kind of sought after the show, whereas with America's Next Top Model, they kind of found us, so a little bit reversed. With Britain's Next Top Model and America's Next Top Model, there was a whole stage of phone interviews, but I did have a face-to-face interview with Britain's Next Top Model, which was at the London's Sadler's Wells, and yeah, I remember that, it was good. Prizes! Now, there's obviously a massive difference here. On Britain's Next Top Model, you got a contract with Models One agency, you got a campaign with Max Factor, and you got a 6-page spread and cover on Company magazine. Whereas on America's Next Top Model, you got a contract with LA Models and New York Models, a $100,000 campaign with CoverGirl Cosmetics, a spread in Vogue Italia. I've actually got to look because the list keeps going on. Oh, extra correspondent, I wish I could have got that. A single with CBS, and you were the face of the Dream Come True fragrance. Jace. And the houses that we lived in, I actually think they're quite hard to compare. I think Britain's Next Top Model, that mansion is the kind of place that living in London, I'd like to live. I actually know where it is and everything. It didn't have a pool, but it did have a hot tub. Whereas on America's Next Top Model, that's the kind of mansion I'd want to live in if I lived in LA. Decent swimming pool, sexy communal areas. banging. Let's talk about the level of production. Now, both production companies are awesome, filled with talented people. However, America's Next Top Model is definitely glossier. There's like a shine about it, a sheen, kind of like a diamond. I don't know, it just looks shinier to watch, whereas Britain's Next Top Model to me is definitely just a bit more raw on the eyeballs. Ironically though, I actually left Britain's Next Top Model with way more stuff than I did from America's Next Top Model. I think Britain's Next Top Model was just more generous in that regard and maybe had more sponsors. We were gifted suitcases, we had loads of hair and makeup stuff, had a hairdryer, robes, we went to Iceland, so we were gifted like ski jackets, really expensive ones as well, hats, gloves, scarves, shoes, yeah. I left with a lot of stuff. And the memorabilia from Britain's Next Top Model was just outstanding. Please do not judge me on how dirty this top is. I don't want to wash it anymore because my letters are going to fall off. Can't have that. Also, you've got to remember that from the boot camp as well. What have I got in here? My dog tags. Come on, Britain's Next Top Model dog tags with my name on it. Love that. In here, what have I got? My medal from Top Model Boot Camp, also my name necklace. It's kind of broken actually, but I thought that was really cute. I've got to get that fixed, haven't I? I've got, Louis Mariette, a piece of jewellery from Louis himself, as well as the Swarovski that I won with Ashley. All memories. Now, of course, I got some great bits from America's Next Top Model as well. You can actually see some of the memorabilia in my Q&A video, volume 1. Promo pics. Well, Britain's Next Top Model was actually taken before our makeovers, whereas America's Next Top Model was clearly taken after. As you can see, straight hair, slicked back, a lot of a leg. I wasn't really feeling that confident on this day. And then America's, all of this flag stuff really wasn't my style, and obviously all that extra hair. I don't know if I really preferred one over the other, but I definitely hated those flag tattoo lips. I have to mention makeovers. Which one did I prefer best? None of them really wowed me. I think I was really lucky that I managed to escape without my hair being cut too much in both instances. I think Britain's Next Top Model, definitely the theme was more about snipping and cutting hair, whereas America's Next Top Model generally was more about adding hair and the looks were more extreme. On the flip side of that though, I actually think that the first few episodes of Britain's Next Top Model were way more extreme than America's Next Top Model. On the first few episodes of Britain's Next Top Model, we had to kiss a male model in a casting. We actually had catwalk training with Miss J, which I actually forgot until I rewatched it. Then we had to, the nude shoot. A nude shoot, episode 2, mangoes, and I mean fully out there, not even like nipples covered or anything. And then had to kiss each other in a photo shoot. Like, come on, that's just crazy. A crazy amount of shock value in the first few episodes. Whereas I think America's Next Top Model has got such a long-standing reputation that it didn't need the shock value. Of course, it went in with the Kardashians on the second shoot, but really, it didn't need all of that extra fluff and stuff. And when it comes to the photo shoots and the challenges, I actually think that both shows were pretty evenly matched. However, I did notice that on Britain's Next Top Model, there's 2 challenges per episode. I think my favourite challenge has got to be being interviewed by Johnny Vaughan. Of course I won that one. Funny story is that the building where that was filmed is actually global. That's what the company's called. Massive, massive company that looks after loads of different radio stations. And I actually ended up working there for 2.5 years. I presented a show on Heart Radio, the biggest radio station in the United Kingdom, hosting the Club Classics party show on a Friday and Saturday night. And it's just so nice to see where I came from and where I made it to, and hopefully there'll be lots more. I think my favourite photo shoot on Britain's Next Top Model was probably the refuge shoot where I was a puppet on a string. I didn't really get great feedback, but I think I enjoyed working with that photographer, and it just felt like the photo was going to be better than it was. When it comes to America's Next Top Model, Obviously, favourite challenge is always the one where I win, so Martin Lindstrom, where I got my diamonds. And then as for my favourite photo shoot, ANTM, I think it would have to be a toss-up between Hello Kitty and maple syrup. On to the last few miscellaneous differences. On Britain's Next Top Model, you've got to remember that I knew where we were. We were on my home turf. So when we were like driving in the vans and stuff, I like knew where we were going, which was very, very comforting compared to America's Next Top Model. Also, on ANTM, we obviously have our mentors, so J. Manuel and Miss J, who are kind of there constantly kind of helping you out. Whereas on Britain's Next Top Model, we didn't have a mentor that kind of featured throughout the whole show. I think elimination-wise, both were just as terrifying as each other, to be honest. There is definitely a lack of control that I felt doing both shows. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video answers all your questions. If not, do not fear, because you can leave your questions for me in the comments below. Also, you can help me out by giving this video a thumbs up, subscribing to my channel, and giving me a follow on Instagram. And of course, you've got to check out my previous videos, right? I've got lots of ANTM content now, as well as my outfit check styling videos. Thanks again, and I will see you soon.